Welcome to the Checkered Shorts Podcast, a podcast of three fraternity brothers reconnected by their love of IndyCar. Join us for grid-rival IndyCar fantasy talk, predictions for upcoming races, and reactions to race day results and all things IndyCar. Let's go racing! Hello, welcome back to Checkered Shorts, episode 15. We're really starting to put them in the bankroll.
Thank you.
Feeling like some old pros now.
Right.
We've been going on and on and on about how there's too many breaks. We want to see some racing, and there was just like a little appetizer tease of racing this week, and it in the messaging within our group, I said if they would just sprinkle this in, you'd probably a lot less grumbling, because I had a lot of fun at 11 a.m. flipping on YouTube on my work computer, catching a little bit of racing in the background noise while I did some work in the office. So we'll talk a little bit about IMS testing. So who wants to jump in first on something that they thought was pretty interesting as far as the 2-day event and seeing the guys out on the track and getting to hear a bunch of interviews too?
Yep. Anybody not go for it? You go take the lead.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just glad, Keith, that you didn't try to tune in during the outage, internet outage at IMS. Wow. Let those drivers get all fired up, ready to go.
Yeah.
Oh, guys, we send you back to your trailers. We Comcast has pulled the plug or something.
It's like almost 2 hours, right?
Yeah. I think that was the biggest surprise. We talked about this beforehand, but I didn't know, and maybe I just wasn't paying attention, that they were going to allow the boost on Thursday morning session. That was the biggest surprise for me, and that's awesome. Like, give those guys an opportunity to see what it's like in qualifying trim. And whether it was just 2 hours or whatever it was, just to be able to get those speeds up. And we never see speeds at this time, even in the first week of the first couple of days of the month, like until Fast Friday, you don't see numbers in the 230s. So that was awesome to see that happening. And they had good weather, which was great for those 2 days. So that was my takeaway, was having the boost and guys really getting to turn it up on.
There were some beautiful shots. There were some beautiful shots for like a non-network broadcast, just like showing a lot of the Speedway itself, showing the people setting up on the hillside, watching the practices, and then also seeing some of the racers get involved with the people that were there to watch the testing was kind of fun too.
That was another thing I didn't realize. I didn't realize they were opening up the turn 2, like the southeast vista for viewing. That normally the test days, it's just been the mounds in turn 2. So to be able to be on the outside of the track and watch them, like, that would have been awesome. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get down there, but it'd been cool to see that from, if you're a newbie to the track, or even those of us that are veterans, like when you can sit on the outside of a turn and see, basically half the speedway. That's a positive.
Yeah, my biggest takeaway, well, they actually talked about the hybrid a little bit. I think so. It sounds like it's going to be, from Joseph, it's going to be super impactful. I'll read you the quote so I don't butch it. I think the hybrid utilization will be the most impactful anywhere we've gone. It's going to be critical to the use hybrid correctly in the race running compared to any other race we run. It's just the process thing. We're using the hybrid where it's most efficient and doing it every lap. So again, we can't see when that hybrid's getting engaged when they're pressing the button, but when it regens, how long does it take to regen? Hopefully Fox can really use this now as a promotion of the new hybrid system. And obviously it sounds like it's going to be super impactful to these race car drivers. And how do they use it? Just something for the broadcasters to easily talk about, even throughout practice and stuff. So,
yeah, Brian's been mentioning it from right off the bat, being able to see the hybrid battery, when they're employing it, how long it takes to charge, when they're choosing to, would be great TV, on TV, when there's a little bit of that dull moments because they're running in line, but you can start to see how individual drivers are using their hybrid system. The other thing that makes that more impactful, I think, Pat, is if you're not aware, the 500, no push to pass.
Yep.
So you got to use the hybrid for that extra horsepower, and then also.
This is the first time I mean, it isn't push to pass, but it kind of is a push to pass.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're cut that on that front stretch, every lap, you don't want to be in the lead because you're going to get passed going into before turn one. So you're catching a good headwind, your drag, and then you bump out, and then is that when you engage the hybrid? So it's not push pass, but it's just a different something we've never seen here at IMS. So it'll be cool to see.
But everybody's going to have it, right? So even if you're the guy in the lead, you've got that hybrid to be able to employ to defend. But you've got the draft too. So and how does that hybrid work with the draft? I think that's what a lot of guys are looking out.
It'll be cool. This is I'm excited to see it. Hopefully Fox can talk about it more and be about it more. I think.
I honestly going into this, and this was idiotic on my part, but I wasn't thinking that the hybrid was going to make that big of a difference at IMS because I was thinking about the regeneration being during braking, and really they are all out all the way around that place. But they talked this week, like when they pull up behind somebody to draft, that allows them to regen that and then be able to deploy. So those long speedway, the long front stretch and back stretch allow for that opportunity, which can they do that and then slingshot around somebody on the second half of that?
We know they've had hybrid issues too. Hybrids going out. You can still run the car without the hybrid, but you're not getting that boost. At a small oval, you can probably get away with not needing it. At a gateway or something, you don't need it as much. But it could be considerably at a disadvantage if you lose your hybrid.
I think it's interesting because I'm sorry. In Newgarden's statement, when he says impactful, a lot of the things we've heard impactful language on hybrid in the past is how it's going to negatively impact. Mm-hmm. He's talking about impactful in the other sense, which is kind of exciting to hear someone say, hey, the use of the hybrid is going to be really impactful in how you choose to strategize when to regenerate, like you said, Brian. And then, sometimes I'll be watching a race, and this might be a real naive or layman's way to think of it. But if there's 20 laps left and the guy leading the race and there's a guy trying to chase him down, but the guy leading the race has twice as many push to pass as the guy who's trying to chase him down, you pretty much know the race is over. At least that's the way I've just my comments, which is like, it ain't happening, So let's look back farther in the pack to see who's going to be jockeying for position back there. But with hybrid, as long as it's functioning properly and you're regenerating properly, it's kind of unlimited, right? You can go to that a little bit more often.
So, Pat, you bring up, the way that the hybrid has failed, as we've worked through the season. But Keith, I didn't get a chance to watch it, and I know that you had it on. There were guys that were running, 250, 260 laps over the course of 2 days. Did you hear? I don't remember hearing anything about any hybrid failures. So
no, you had a couple of issues where guys lost power and had they had to pull the cars in off the track, but none of them mentioned hybrid issues.
Okay, yeah,
good.
Maybe the hybrid's built for an oval more so than some of these street and road courses.
Hopefully, I mean, again, it's something for us fans and nerds of IndyCar to be engaged about, and to just something else to make it a little bit more interesting for us. I think, that's what I think.
I think a couple other things that surprised me, or one other thing that surprised me, was Sato and Larson hitting the wall. But then the more I think about that, like, those are two guys who are extremely talented race car drivers, and we're probably pushing it to see what they could get out of the car. And so those guys, hitting the wall, that brings excitement for the fans that were there, especially, I know that at least one of those was down in turn 2 where the people were sitting. They got to see it. But two, those are both part-time drivers, one-offs for this race. Like, how much preparation time, how much sim time are they going to have? Does this put them in danger of qualifying time? And like, they need the practice. And they're going to have plenty of time to go far back, but are those guys, because of their situation, does that put them behind the 8-ball?
Well, Sato destroyed his car. Larson, I think, was okay, but I think Graham got into the wall, bumped it. VK almost caused a 6-car wreck. But no, yeah, Sato destroyed his. And you don't see too much into turn 1. And he, so he simply said, I just lost it. So,
the situation with VK was exciting to watch, though, because it was the avoidance of the accidents as much as the accident, and to see the guys, quickly react. And like the one who I thought was going to end up in a real mess was Ferrucci, because the other two kind of had their eyeballs on what was happening. One went high, one went low, got around, and the next thing you know, Ferrucci is right on the rear end of him. And I thought, this is going to be bad.
It was Harvey, I think, who was in the most danger. And so I was glad to see Jack Harvey still has got quick hands to avoid it, even after not racing for half a season. So overall, it's good. A little bit surprised that there were some accidents, but those guys,
I think they all admittedly just said they lost it. I don't think it was anything.
Well, you remember Siegel last year at the qualifying? He's like, man, at any moment it could just lose it, and I had to go all out. So it's not like driving your Honda Accord on the track, but there is some sketchiness to that thing can pop out on you anytime. So just proof right there.
Anything that you see as far as, like you said, Honda, it just made me think like Honda, Chevy, as far as the testing went, any kind of advantage either way, or pretty much what you expect?
I think it's still there. It's the Chevy's got the power. Honda's got the handling. It's kind of been that way for years and years and years, I think. And then, Honda's been the fuel mileage. They've had that advantage there. I think that's going to stay the same. I think we saw that in the test as well.
So one thing I was thinking as watching it, because you just kind of pop up and look, they've run, see the standings and who got the top speeds. What is the strategy for 2 practice days at this time of year at IMS? Is it to go out there and show everybody I got the speed, or to tune things in to make sure you're getting the speed? Or is there a lot of diagnostic stuff? The one thing that I'm always following some social media things, but Pato being my guy, give extra attention. And, he's talking about, and it's funny, racer terminology. He said, yeah, we're doing scientific stuff today. So I don't know what they're doing back in the trailer, but today was all about collecting scientific stuff. And then the last day, you see all of a sudden he's running a lot hotter than he was previously. So is there a strategy, or is there anything to really be gained from watching it as a fan that leads you to believe one person's going to have a better outcome?
I think my initial response to your question was yes and yes and yes. I think that there's all of that is going on. But then you asked that last question about, is there anything to be gained as a fan? I think it's just the excitement and fun. I don't think there's anything that can be gained as far as who's a favorite. And they're always guys that are like sandbagging on those, those first few days and not showing what all they have. And, we don't know. I mean, I saw that the Rahal cars were up there in the top 10 to 15. I think Sato I think he had the 3rd fastest or something like that.
Second.
But if we all know that over the last 3 years, like, they've struggled to make the race. So are some of these other teams holding something back right now?
Well, hold on, I'm looking up overall test results. You got a 2:32.6 from Scotty Mack. Slowest was 2:22 from Nolan. So this tells you Nolan probably obviously wasn't pushing as hard. He's probably still a little bit uncomfortable from last season. And Scotty Mack that's pretty close to qualifying trim right there.
Yeah.
So I think it's all over the board. Especially once they put the boost in, they probably wanted to really engage on what this car is really going to be like with the extra weight and all that other good stuff.
So Brian, you mentioning Rahal and barely making the cut. So first off, it is episode 15. So, we can go ahead and call this one the Rahal episode.
That's right. But the Ram Rahal episode.
And so in addition to that, though, not making the cut, interesting setup this year, right? there's going to be a lone soldier left out. And so today, with very limited knowledge, we're going to do a segment called Bump a Bum. So we all get to pick who our bum is that we're going to bump out of the Indy 500 field. And
go ahead and go first, Keith. Who you got?
Yeah, knock yourself out.
Well, I got to go Schwartzman. I just don't see it happening for the guy, man. They're having a tough go with the new team. As the new team in the series, I'm just not sure that they're going to have the chops to get it done and put two cars in the field. One of those two cars is going to miss the cut. Is my prediction.
Okay, Pat, what do you got?
Well, I'm going to go Graham. He's been crap the past 2 years. So that's my pick. I mean, who do you replace? Wilson a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So he's still getting then he had the battery issue at the start, like to him unluck. If it's not Graham, it could be Devlin DeFrancesco. Just Rahal hasn't figured it out there.
Okay. So you say it's one of the Rahal cars. There we go.
Yeah.
I think you guys left some guys on the table here, but if I had money to put out right now, I'm going to say Jacob Abel. Yeah. I think Jacob Abel has really struggled. Like he has been the slowest car every weekend so far. He's a rookie. I don't know that I can't remember when they made that switch with lights not running or NXT not running at the Speedway, but I don't know that he's ever turned a lot of laps other than I know he put in 250 laps this past week, but I just think they've been really slow. It's a coin car. It's the same car that Steve missed the race with last year. Unless a VK I feel good about because he's going to drive the wheels. It's like Sato in a Rahal car, right? He's going to get it in the show.
You're right. Yeah, no,
I struggle between. I think Stingray's going to have a hard time. I think you mentioned Schwartzman. You guys know that I'm a Callum Ilott fan, but Prima just hasn't shown anything. I worry about Callum and I worry about Siegel again because you said like he was the slowest. And are there still those demons in the back of his head?
Yep. I mean, just looking at the list, Marco, I think should be okay. Callum, Ed Carpenter, who knows? Jack Harvey. I mean, all those guys can make it. It's just the product of the car that they have is David Malukas. Who knows what that guy, I mean, he might not be in the series next year the way he's racing right now. You know what I mean? He's not doing good. You don't hear about him. You don't talk about him. And so it'll be interesting for sure.
Yeah.
Bump a bum.
So
go ahead.
We're getting ready. I mean, we're chomping at the bit here for May 1st. You're starting to see a lot of information. Is it May yet? And so with that being the case, we're going to start sprinkling in some Indy 500 tips. I'll be going to the first one that I've been to since I was 13 years old. Pumped to be doing that. Be hanging out at the Dinwitties through the weekend, so I can make a short little jaunt over there by foot to the track. But for guys like me that don't spend a lot of time at the track, we want to educate you. And luckily for me, I got a veteran tour guide when I go.
You do.
I got the VIP experience. It's like Disney World. You get escorted around.
It really is.
He'll be in the front. If you look over here to your right.
Truth to that.
I try to get out a couple practices. I'll definitely be out for the Fast 12. I've been to Carb Day. That's just kind of a hit and miss. Just depends on. Usually, if I go to Carb Day now, I don't go like I used to. Usually, I'm there for the actual practices, and then I'll probably leave. So I'm a couple practice throughout the 10 days that I think the track is open. But I think if I had to go to one practice, if you asked me, it's probably Fast Friday just because of when I just remember when I was going as a kid and everything. It still kind of just brings me back to that time. And it is cool to see these cars get race trim runs or qual sims with the boost and everything like that. So I don't know. I don't know if I really answered your question, but a couple practices, fast 12, and then obviously race day.
Yeah. So outside of the race, I think what we're trying to do is educate guys on, hey, or anybody, families, which day to get out there if you can only go one. So your pick would be Fast Friday for a variety of reasons. Some of them being nostalgic.
It's a Friday. Bring a couple extra beers. It's a little bit more lively than a Tuesday practice. But I bet you Dinwiddie has a different answer. I think I know which one he might pick.
I do. I've had a hard time getting out there on Fast Friday. So that's part of the reason. I'll back up a step here. Just let those of you that are looking and planning, like, when can I get out to the track? For 500 related festivities, the track opens on Tuesday the 13th. So 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th. 16th is the Fast Friday that Pat's talking about. Those are all practice days, and guys will be on track all day long. Check your weather forecast, things like that. And then 17th and 18th are qualifying, with pole and bump day being on the 18th. And then the 19th, that's my day. That's the day I like. So Pat talked about Fast Friday. That's when the boost comes in. That's when they get ready for qualifying. They really fly that day. I like Monday the 19th because that's the first day that they really do a lot of pack racing and race trim racing. On Fast Friday, it's basically one car on the track at a time, or at least spaced out so that they're not interfering. I like to call Monday Manic Monday because you will see them all out there, and they will be. And I think they've limited the amount of hours on that too. So when that opens up and they get the green flag, those guys hit the track, and it's really like watching race day in practice form. So that's my favorite day. To be out there.
So I guess
outside of qualifying and race day.
Based on both of those reasons, I'm just going to have to make a conscious decision to go to both. You're right. When you got two decisions and you can't make the decision, guess what? I guess you're going to eat two. Guess you're eating two pieces of pie.
That's right. They're both good. They're both really good. Good days. Yeah. No, it's and they're different. Like you said, it's.
But if you don't have those choices, what I would say is get out there when you can, and plan to do a lot of walking. Because if you're going out there for practice, you don't want to sit in the same spot all day. You want to see different viewing angles. You want to get to the Pagoda Plaza. If you have access, you want to be able to get to garages and down pit lane. You want to see as much on those practice days as you can.
Yeah, I'm a turn 4 guy, but during practices, it's fun to sit on the inside at the Pagoda and walk in the chain link fence with all the cars and everything, and you can get some drivers to sign your stuff. That's cool as a kid too. It's very family oriented out there. These drivers are coached. These teams are coached to, some little kids wearing your Graham Rahal jersey, go over there and say hi to them. That brings me back to being a kid, is just being out there and behind the Pagoda, and just sitting there for hours, watching race cars, and seeing what's going on. Timing, had my own stopwatch, timing them myself. Yeah, I remember that. So those were that's fun. I like your point of moving around, go to different areas, go check out the trailer, stuff like that.
I would touch on one more thing. Pat hit on it just real quick. You can bring your own food and beverage as well. Any beverage, by the way. Except for glass bottles.
Only racetrack in America.
Yeah. Bring it the hard way. Speedway prices aren't terrible, but it's a lot cheaper at Kroger than it is at IMS. So pack your cooler and come enjoy the day.
Yep. Get a turkey leg.
We had some words for the folks at Iowa for our first trip when we opened up our backpack cooler.
We're professionals.
What communist country are we in? Come on.
Milwaukee, Iowa, Barber.
And we're not talking about alcohol. We're talking about a Diet Coke. Like, you can't even take a Diet Coke into some of those tracks. Come on.
Diabetic, man.
Let's go.
You can't take a Miller Lite into Milwaukee.
Yeah, crazy.
I mean, that's kind of sacrilegious.
Pack of full ice.
Make some hard digging.
Yeah, make them earn it if they're going to look through it.
All right, guys. Oh, and be
Yep.
good to the yellow shirts. Pat knows one personally, I think.
Yeah.
Bill. So,
My dad was out there yesterday. Jerry's out there. He was texting, I think, while he was working. So not sure of that, but it was training day yesterday.
if you don't know what a yellow shirt is, those are the marshals. Those are the guys that can lead you around, make sure everybody's safe. But the yellow shirts are great guys, and make some connections because they will treat you well.
Yep. They have to turn in those things every year, which I guess doesn't make sense because you don't see them on eBay or like for sale or something.
I've been trying to get one for years. I can't find one.
Yeah, right. No, they like check them in, check them out, sort of thing. So yeah, good episode.
Yeah, I can see us all three in yellow shirts walking around like we own the place.
You mean like my Iowa shirt that I picked up on eBay?
Nice.
The Marshalls from last year.
Is it? A side note, we probably should like buy like the track shirts and stuff like that every time we go to one. So
well, I picked up 3 of these, so you guys each have one. So,
and now Hy-Vee's not the sponsor. Now Hy-Vee's not the sponsor.
I know it.
Yeah.
Must be why they were on sale.
Probably.
All right.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us. Episode 15. It was a lot of fun.
Graham Rahal.
We will have 2 episodes this week because it is race week. So stay tuned. Later on in the week, you'll get our pre-race episode. Thanks for joining us.
See y'all.
Take care.